Right now, the atoms doing the reading, your eyes, your hands, the brain holding this thought, are, most of them, billions of years old. You are not. You call yourself 30 or 40 or 70. That number's real, but it only measures the shape. The material that shape is built from is far older. Older than this planet. Older than the sun. The hydrogen in the water you're made of is nearly 14 billion years old. It has been places you never will. You are the newest thing about you. Everything you're made of is ancient and only passing through. So here's a question almost no one asks about their body. What is the longest journey any atom inside you has taken to get here? Start with something that sounds like a trick, but isn't. You are not a thing. You're a pattern, a shape that matter flows through. The atoms in you now aren't the ones you had a decade ago. You rebuild constantly from what the world hands you: food, water, air. You're less a statue than a flame. The shape holds steady while the material burns through and moves on. So the real story of your body isn't about you. It's about where all that borrowed material has been. Follow one atom backwards, not the hydrogen, save that. Follow the carbon. Carbon is your scaffold. Every protein, every strand of your DNA hangs off a spine of carbon. When the universe began, there was no carbon. None. Only the two lightest elements, hydrogen and helium. Nothing to build a body from. Everything heavier, your carbon, your oxygen, the calcium in your bones, had to be built somewhere later, atom by atom. And there's only one kind of place hot and heavy enough to do it: the inside of a star. A star isn't just a light in the sky, it's a forge. In a star's core, gravity crushes hydrogen into helium, helium into carbon, on up the ladder. Heavier elements built from lighter ones. That we are the ash of that process was proven in 1957 in a paper still known by its authors, Burbage, Fowler, and Fred Hoyle. Reaction by reaction, they showed how a star builds nearly every element there is. Your body, the output of a machine. And Hoyle noticed something stranger. Carbon can only form if the reaction hits one exact energy, near 7.5 million electron volts, or it stalls and no carbon exists. He predicted that number before anyone measured it. Experiments at Caltech went looking and found it exactly where he said. The carbon in your cells exists because of that one tuned step inside stars. So specific it was predicted from the bare fact that you're here. But that only deepens the mystery. You're not in a star, you're in a chair, breathing. So how did what was locked inside a star ever get out and reach here? A star doesn't keep what it makes. It fuses all its life, then dies, and in dying, gives everything back. Gentle stars breathe their outer layers into space. The largest detonate as a supernova, one explosion that can briefly outshine a whole galaxy. And that explosion is a delivery, seeding the space between stars with everything it built: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, flung across light years. The iron in your blood, the atoms that let your red cells carry oxygen, was likely forged in a massive star and scattered by its death. Then each atom drifted through the dark, cold, and alone, for longer than life has existed on Earth, until some of that debris was pulled back together and became a sun and a world, and in time, a person. But here it turns in a way even scientists once thought impossible. Much of what's in you didn't wait to be made in our star. It arrived already ancient. Take water. You're about 60% water. By weight, most of what you are. In 2014, an astronomer named Ilse Cleeves at the University of Michigan traced where the solar system's water came from, in the journal Science. Her team found a large fraction of it, maybe half, is older than the sun. It formed as ice on dust in space before the sun ignited. So some of the water moving through you right now, in your blood, behind your eyes, is older than the star this planet orbits. And if that sounds untouchable, and it isn't, a piece of the journey sits in a drawer in Chicago. In 1969, a meteorite broke apart over Murchison, Australia, scattering fragments of rock older than the Earth across a field. In 2020, a team led by Philipp Heck at the University of Chicago pulled microscopic grains from that rock and measured their age. The grains were stardust in the literal sense, specks that formed inside other stars, then rode here in the rock. The oldest? About 7 billion years. 7 billion years, older than the sun by more than 2 billion. The oldest solid matter ever found on Earth, made in stars that died before ours was born. That's no theory on a chalkboard. It's a physical object in the journey, real enough to hold in a gloved hand. Now back to the atom we saved, the hydrogen. Most of your body, atom for atom, is hydrogen, the commonest element in you in every water molecule and every rung of your DNA. And hydrogen was never made in a star at all. It is primordial. Nearly all of it formed in the first minutes after the Big Bang, almost 14 billion years ago, when nothing heavier than helium existed yet. So the most abundant thing in your body is nearly as old as time itself. You are, in large part, the universe's original material. So put the whole journey together for one iron atom in your blood, born in the core of a massive star that no longer exists, locked there for millions of years. Then the star exploded and flung it into the galaxy, and it drifted, billions of years, tens of thousands of light years of near-perfect emptiness. It fell into the cloud that became our solar system, settled into the forming Earth, and was folded into rock and rain and living things. It moved through oceans and soil and countless creatures before it was ever yours. It has almost certainly been part of other people. And of that whole voyage, star to blast to dust to ocean to blood, the leg where it is you lasts a few decades, a flicker at the end. This is where the facts stop being only facts and start being something you can feel. You are not the atoms. They were here billions of years before there was a you, and they go on billions after. You are the arrangement, the brief pattern the universe folds its oldest matter into for a few decades, so the dust can sit up and look around. Carl Sagan said it in one line in 1980. We are made of star stuff. It sounds like a poem. It's a measurement. The oldest material in existence is right now arranged into someone who can be moved by learning it. That may be the rarest thing there is. Hold that one iron atom in your mind one last time. Born in a star, flung across the galaxy, adrift longer than the Earth has existed, pulled at last into you. Of that entire journey, the stretch where it's a living, thinking person is the shortest step of all. You're not a long chapter in its story. You're a single bright line near the end. And yet yours is the only part of the whole trip where the atom ever knows the journey happened. Every mile before it was silent and blind. Here, the dust wakes and understands. And because you're the pattern, not the material, one day the material moves on. What you borrowed is handed back. Oxygen to the air, carbon to the soil, iron onward, patient and almost immortal. Nothing is lost. It's only passed forward to become the next thing. You won't so much end as disperse. So sit with this. The oldest matter in the universe wore your face, carried your name, felt everything you felt. And for a few decades, it was unmistakably you. Then it goes on, the way it always has, into rain, into roots, and one day into new stars. You are how the universe's oldest dust gets to live briefly as a person. Stars became dust became you, and you in time become dust that may one day help make a star. That's not a loss. It's the oldest journey there is, and right now the traveler is you. There's nothing you need to do with this, nothing to fix, nothing to earn. Only this. The next time you feel small, remember what you're made of. Not fragile, ancient, not apart from the cosmos watching from outside, but a piece of it, briefly awake. Between a dying star and the hand you're reading with, there is no gap, just one unbroken line. Almost everything vast that has ever happened is, quite literally, your body's past. So come back to where we began. The atoms reading this are billions of years old, pausing for one human life to be you. Their longest journey didn't begin at your birth or on this earth or with this sun. It began in the dark between the stars, and it is still going quietly inside you. For a little while, you are their resting place. Hold them gently. They came a very long way to be you. From stars to dust to you and one day on again.